Hi, my name's Steve and welcome to the Seaside Allotment channel, and it's harvest day today, so I thought I'd just quickly show you what we're taking off the allotment. Not very much at the moment, it's obviously in that transition from spring harvest to summer harvest, but still really nice selection of stuff. So yeah, let me show you what we're doing. So the first thing that I harvested today was the broad beans, and I only harvested this little bit here. We've got a lot more to go down there. So basically the idea is to harvest a quarter of the beans a week for the next 4 weeks, and then in there go all the winter brassicas and spring brassicas, so the purple sprouting broccoli and the cauliflowers, cabbages and things like that, all down there. And there's the little harvest off there. And next up I harvested the spring onions from the centre, so there's shallots on the outside and spring onions down the centre, and the type of spring onions here are North Holland Blood Red, so they are a bulbing onion, and so I've left 3 of those in the centre to bulb up, and a few down here are Performer, so I've taken a few complete bunches of those because they're just a non-bulbing spring onion to keep me going while I'm picking, harvesting a few, maybe 12, something like that, strawberries. So the garlic is really ready. We'll probably leave it now for maybe 1, maybe 2 weeks till the middle of June, but I've got too much to do to think about garlic today. I will just pick a few of these broad bean leaves for the smoothie mix, I think. I'm always a big fan of picking these kind of leaves that would otherwise be wasted for the smoothie mix. They're never good enough really for any other purpose, and otherwise they just get composted, but they're actually really nice mild leaves, and so I'll just pick, I don't know, a few handfuls of these. So I did pick some rhubarb earlier in the week, but other than that, that's everything really now on Jennie's plot harvested. And now I'm picking the smoothie mix, and I do like these tiny little perennial kale leaves, and these are just perfect for smoothies. They're very tender and mild, and all of these need to be picked because this part of the plant is all being harvested, ready to be cut down, because it's not got enough integrity basically to last through the winter. As you can probably see, it's kind of all breaking off. That's what does tend to happen with these perennial kale plants. And this is my last bed of carrots. There's 2 successions here, and for the smoothies we really like the leaves, so we'll be picking some of these, and obviously the radishes are ready as well. And the reason that they're spaced out so far is because these are the New Zealand spinach plants, so I wanted to give them enough room. They're really underutilised. We don't really like them much in salads or anything like that, but they're just great in smoothie mix. So I'll take all the good quality leaves off these that I'm going to harvest. I like to do it this way round because I don't get any soil on them or anything, so if I harvest the leaves off first. So next up for the smoothie mix is this lovely perpetual spinach, and these are very young plants, so we don't want to harvest them too hard. We just want to take just a few bigger leaves off, not very much at all, probably no more than 1 leaf per clump. Some of these big leaves have a little bit of damage from the wind because we've had some very high winds, but yeah, they're looking pretty good, aren't they? So next up I'm picking red rhubarb kale, and I've already picked most of this, so I'll just take a few leaves off the outside. We're going to be cutting this back soon, probably tomorrow, so that it can regrow, because it's kind of outgrowing its space now. And then we've got some beautiful Burpee's golden beetroot, so I'm going to take a few leaves off here as well. Again, only about one leaf per clump, because obviously we want these to grow beetroot, not just leaves. And then this is the chard. This is all being taken out and replanted tomorrow. So I'm going to take a few of these seed heads and a few of these leaves just to make the best of it, because there's still a lot of quality leaves on this plant, even though it looks really straggly, but these are lovely. And then this is the first pick of the New Zealand spinach bed, and you do need to be careful when you do this first pick not to take too much off. These plants are still not very big and vigorous, but you do need to start picking them, of course, at some point. So we'll probably only take, again, maybe 3 or 4 leaves off per plant. There are 9 plants in here, just to get them started. So just a tiny little bit here like this, not very much at all. If you take too much off them, it can really stunt the growth, so just be careful for the first few weeks. That's it for the smoothie mix from the allotment. We always harvest into water, and from home we'll just add pea shoots to this mix, and that'll be done. So back to the main harvest. We're just starting to harvest our overwintered onions now, and we've got this bed, that bed, and the bed on Debbie's plot. You can see that a few of them are starting to go to seed, so we'll make sure we take those out, but the vast majority are fine. And we're basically harvesting about a sixth of the bed each week, a sixth of our total rather each week, until sort of late July time, when the main crops will be ready. So I just picked a few of those radishes. Sometimes when they're that big, they're kind of quite woody or not solid, but these are pretty good. These have only been in the ground 2 weeks, so yeah, I'm pretty pleased with those. Carrots are always a challenge for me at this time of year. It's really hard to get a decent harvest of carrots, because the overwintered ones tend to go to seed, and this season's are not quite ready. Ours are a few weeks away from being ready, so I'll just get rid of all these seeded ones. These are a waste of time, and I'll hope for a few decent ones. So I'm fairly happy with these. There's some tiny ones at the bottom, but they should last us a couple of weeks, and by then the early main crop should be ready. So we've survived another year of carrots every week. So I'm making a start on the brassicas now. So these are our early sprouts, not grown for the sprouts, grown for the sprout tops and the leaves. And we've got our first few caterpillars, so I'm going to get rid of those. I normally take a couple of leaves off each plant. Obviously you could take more off, but there's caterpillars on that one. But we want these sprout tops to develop, so we'll constrain ourselves. So that's how we left those. Still plenty of leaves on there. So second bed of sprout leaves. Not quite so good quality, these actually, must be a different variety, I can't remember. It's totally infested with cabbage aphid, so I'm going to take that one out. Most of our brassicas are at home now, but I'm just going to fill this up with the perennial kale leaves. I've got a little one down there. There we go, that's full. I'll just put a bit of water in there now and stick the top on. It'll keep it nice and fresh until we pack it. So I'm now on to what might be the last harvest of the chard. There's still some lovely leaves down here at the bottom. even though the tops are going to seed. So I'm going to get on with those. There we go, hardly worth the effort, but it's all adding up. I'm going to take a couple of cabbages. I want to clear this bed because I want to put carrots in there. Carrots are going here as well, but they'll go in next week. So I think I'll take this one and this one. So I think now we'll pick some of these mulched peas. Looking pretty lovely. These are my favourite snack food on the allotment at the moment. And the Oregon sugar pod, they have particularly lovely pea shoots as well and flowers. So I'll add those to the smoothie mix. So I've left plenty still on there. But one of the things I love about Oregon sugar pod is even when the peas are really quite big inside, the pod is still delicious, so you can just eat them still as a mulch too. Even one like that is perfectly edible. Really lovely. When they get to about this size, not so good. In fact, I wouldn't even bother eating that one. So there's the peas, pretty nice. We've been harvesting these for about a month now, so they're about finished, and we've probably got about 2 weeks left, and then we switch over to the ones in the back garden. So our trusty courgette plant, which has been harvested now for, I don't know, 5 weeks or so, is still giving one every 2 or 3 days. Not a huge amount to harvest from the polytunnel now. These beans are just brought in just because of the gales, so they should really be outside. Cucumbers here aren't quite ready. Celery's ready. So I'm going to pick some beans and some celery, I think. Our third pick of the celery. We just use it as a cut and come again crop. And so you don't want to overpick it. Just a couple of stems off each of the plants. It's looking lovely. I think we planted this in late March. It does really well in the polytunnel. I know people go on and on about how much water it needs, but it really doesn't seem to need that much in the polytunnel. So that's the celery, and that's the beans. It's always a bit embarrassing when you pick your first beans, but still welcome nonetheless. So that's the allotment harvest finished. Spring onions, smoothie mix, early main crop onions, beans, courgettes, don't know what that is, Romanesco cauliflower, brassica greens, cabbages, celery, chard, peas, radish and carrots, and more cabbage. Not a lot really at this time of year, but still welcome. Lots more to come from home. So I'm back home. This is where we do all the packing, and Debbie's already started doing a little bit here. That's where we do the salads and things. This isn't the number of containers we have. We have lots more than this, but this is the amount of table space we have. And we have the bags for everybody down there. And Debbie's picked some green garlic. We're not picking our main crop garlic at the moment, we're just picking our green crop. And some beetroot from the store. And then lots of preserves that we've bagged up for everybody. And we always do a selection of preserves and herbs and things like that from the garden. So I've just had lunch while Debbie's been packing, and this is looking pretty good. We've got smoothie mixes, chard, brassica mixes, broad beans, carrots and potatoes. There's still a long way to go. So Debbie's made some space now in containers, so I'm going to carry on harvesting in the garden. We'll start with the first tomatoes of the year. Got some there and among the other plants in the conservatory. This is the 6th week of harvesting cucumbers from the plant in the conservatory. Quite a nice little selection actually, and I think I'll leave that one. We've had another couple of cucumbers this week already, so this plant is giving us about a cucumber every other day, something like that, which is definitely welcome. So there's lots more coming, but it's always nice when you harvest your first. So I'm going to make a start with this little kale bed in the front garden, and it's incredibly shady, this spot, and we couldn't get any flowers to grow in it, and then we realised that it was just perfect for kale, and it's the topic of many a conversation. It grows so well. So I'm going to start picking this. And we actually even grew kale in here over winter, and basically it gets no sun at all over winter. Because it doesn't get much sun, I'm trying not to overpick it, because I do want it to last a long time. That's a nice harvest there. And then we've got this lovely bed of sprouts for leaves, and this is the best bed we've got. It's really good, and again, hopefully fairly soon this bed will start sprout tops. These beds of sprouts for leaves, we take them out in about the end of July, August time, because we've got loads of mature sprout plants by then. But this is just a great way to get them nice and early. These are really gorgeous. We've converted a lot of people to growing sprouts for leaves via YouTube and on the allotment site. And we've got another little bed in the back garden of brassicas here. And we've got perennial kales. This season we only planted them this year, and they're only little tiny plants when I put them in, but they grow at quite a rate. So they'll be big mature plants like that one by the end of the year. And yeah, lots of lovely kales as well here. So I'm going to pick some of these. We're starting to get a little bit of a problem with a few cabbage white butterfly caterpillars here as well, but it's easily manageable. And we could harvest more kale than that, but we want to keep this bed over winter, so we don't want to exhaust the plants. So this is the green garlic bed. We're basically harvesting a quarter of this bed every week, so you can see we've harvested most of it here. This is just spare cloves basically that were too small for it to grow into mature garlic, planted in February. Just perfect for green garlic. This is the beetroot, and this is easily, yeah, we've got plenty in here ready for harvest, but there's no point in harvesting it because we've still got loads in store, so we're letting that grow on. This is the next succession of the mulched peas, but again we're not harvesting those because we've got loads on the allotment. These are shelling peas, not quite ready yet. Quite a mess. These are meant to be dwarf, but of course the weather's been so good they've just grown like crazy. This is the next succession of the lettuces. Somehow or other we've lost one of those, I don't really know why. And these are what's left of the peas that we've been using for shoots. So these are aldermen. We've actually got quite a lot of peas on them. We don't actually need this bed for 3 weeks, so we're just letting it grow into a mess in the hope that we'll actually get some mature peas off it. And we are still taking some pea shoots off it as well, just like that, a little bit at the end there for the smoothie mixes. Now we're either harvesting potatoes, which we've already done, or salads and spring onions, which we're about to do. So we really like to harvest our lettuces into water, keeps them lovely and fresh. And these are Novara, which is one of our favourite lettuces for most of the year, apart from winter itself. They don't do so well in winter, but we plant some out in kind of December time so that they're ready and lovely vigorous new plants come early spring. And of course we have them for the rest of the year. They've got a lovely, nice, crunchy rib, and we're always looking for that in our lettuces. Gorgeous. And then this is Tessie. It's an amazing deep red lettuce. You do tend to get a little bit of green fly on them, the deep red lettuces, and they don't keep quite as well. Maybe you can see a little bit of green fly on the back of there. So these need a really good wash, but they're kind of worth it, you know, just because they're just so good. And this is Grenoble Red, which is a lovely lettuce for almost all the year, but combination of heat and wind, I think, has resulted in this tip, the edges of the leaves starting to rot. So I'm not sure I'm going to get a fantastic harvest out of those. This Cantarix looks a lot like Novara, which I've just harvested, but you can see it's not quite so red, and it's a little bit more of a delicate lettuce than Novara. I've got a lot of this to pick, still in great condition. Unfortunately, these Grenoble Red look a little bit better. There's still a little bit of an issue on some of them. I might have to pick the whole lettuce and harvest the hearts off those. Just a green oak leaf lettuce, a generic one. Again, it's got a really lovely rib, very mild lettuce, really lovely. So one of the things we really like to do is make mixes up, so everybody gets a little bit of everything rather than a huge amount of just one thing, like one huge cabbage, for example. So that's how we like to pick a lettuce bed, down to a little core like that. And then next week it will look like this, and we'll pick this bed next week. So that's the main table packed. It's looking quite nice. We always have a laugh, Debbie and I, about the so-called hungry gap. Yeah, not on our allotments. So these are the salad mixes, and some peas and some spring onions. Eventually all of them will look like this, but at this time of year, just ours, Debbie's and mine, get all the sprinkles. I always like it when we have enough salad carrots and cucumbers and tomatoes and everything for everybody. But a few months until that happens. So, hope you like this quick video. My name's Steve, this is the Seaside Allotment channel, and I'll see you soon.